What's up, guys? Today we're talking about yield farming meme coins, how I've been able to make money from it. I've made tens of thousands of dollars from yield farming meme coins, but I've also lost thousands of dollars yield farming as well. I'm still very much net positive when it comes to yield farming meme coins, and hopefully this video would help you guys do the same so we can stack more profits in this bull run and minimize our mistakes and losses when we do run into them. If you're new here, my name is Richard. I've been yield farming for quite a while now. You can see my main portfolio is sitting in really nice profit, and some of these assets have been performing really well recently, like this Bonk and ETH pool and this Mog and ETH pool. It's sitting at a 48% ROI while printing a bunch of fees here. So it's been a really great pool for me, and I'm just riding up the profits. And hopefully this move sustains as well. Same thing with Mog here, up 54% on my investment. But sometimes I do make losses as well, like this ETH and AI XBT pool. I invested 2.83 Ethereum, realized about 1 Ethereum worth of loss, so roughly 30-something% of loss, and rotated into other pools like Syrup and ETH. I entered into this position yesterday, so it's been doing really well so far. But we'll have to see how these pools perform over time. I'm still trying to turn a profit from this position. It's a rebalanced position, so it doesn't show you like the exact profit and loss. But you can see sometimes it could be really profitable, but sometimes there could be a lot of losses as well. And if you guys look at my closed position here, you can see some of these are rebalanced position that I just mentioned. And like I've said, I've made a ton of money from yield farming pairs like Mog to Ethereum here. During the last year when meme coins were really hot, 1.1 ETH here, 0.5 ETH here. If you add all of that up, it's a lot of profit, Pepe and ETH. But there are some bad plays like this MAGA and ETH pool that I was in. But again, overall, still net profitable. So let's dive into the details here. And just a quick disclaimer here, none of this is financial advice, so please do your own research before you make any investment decision. I'm just sharing what has worked well for me, so hopefully you get some value out of that. So the plan for this video is just to go over the pros and cons, as well as a few different tips that have helped me in the past when it comes to yield farming meme coins. So the first advantage when it comes to yield farming meme coins is that memes pull a lot of volume when the market condition is really good, and a lot of people are just aping into memes. And because there's more volume, typically meme coins are trading at higher fee tiers as well. That's where we could be earning a ton of fees and APR compared to other stuff like DeFi or blue chip pools. If we go on Gecko Terminal here, filter by 24-hour trending, a lot of these tokens are actually meme coin like Pengu, Bonk, some newer ones as well like Hulk, Fartcoin, Pugcoin, Momo, all of these are considered meme coins, right? Even AI XBT, like an AI agent token, it's somewhat like a more speculative asset as well. And to be honest, most altcoins are speculative. So just because there's some fundamentals behind a token doesn't mean that it would outperform meme coins, right? But that's the first key here. There's a lot of volume when it comes to meme coins. So we could be printing a ton of fees. You guys see my Bonk and ETH pool, even with very wide ranges here. If I change this to HODL value, I'm actually earning 69% APR on the HODL value. Same thing with Mog here, roughly 67% APR on very wide ranges. And you can see my range is quite wide. It's been able to stay in range for quite a long time. And I'm getting a lot of capital gains here just from setting a wide range. So that's the second advantage. If you guys are yield farming meme coins, they're typically very volatile. If you guys get in at a good entry here, like I did with Mog and Bonk, especially with a wide range, we can see a ton of capital gains. And you can see half of my profit so far came from capital gains alone, right? Total profit 0.96 Ethereum and 0.42 worth of profit is from this divergence loss here. And let's take a look at Bonk. You can see total fees 1.49 ETH, right? Divergence loss 1.22 ETH worth of profit. So there's a lot of potential for capital gains here if the tokens appreciate in value and trend up over time. And the third benefit for yield farming meme coins is that a lot of DeFi investors or people that just doesn't like speculative assets, they just avoid these pools in general, right? So because these pools are less crowded, we're going to have more APR And a lot of times people that are yield farming these pools, they don't really have like a structured plan or like the strategies to actually make a lot of profit from it. So in my opinion, it's much less competition to be yield farming these pools. I have an edge in the market because I know a lot about liquidity pools, how to manage positions, how to actually turn a profit from liquidity pools. So that's where we could make a lot of profit by finding different niches in the market where we have an edge over other investors and yield farmers. And the fourth advantage of yield farming memes is that a lot of times we don't have to spend too much time researching the tokens, right? Some of the main things that we might check for is like the holder count, if it's increasing or not, the social media reach, if people are talking about that meme or not. And a lot of the price action is based on the technicals, right? People look at like the chart and traders basically make decisions off of that rather than like metrics like revenue or total value locked or number of transactions. So there's much less time needed for you to do research when it comes to actually picking out different meme coins. So that's one advantage there compared to, yield farming a lot of other different types of protocols. And now that you know the advantages, let's talk about a few drawbacks to consider when it comes to yield farming meme coins. The first and most obvious one is there's a lot of potential for really sharp drawdowns, especially when the market is risk off. Meme coin is a very risk-on asset, meaning that people tend to speculate on them when the market condition is really good. When a lot of altcoins are pumping, memes tend to do really well. But if the altcoin market is struggling as a whole, maybe only a few memes are trending up, while most of the memes are still trending down. So the risk is much higher there for meme coins. If we look at tokens like MOG, and I turn off this logarithmic chart here, you can see it's actually still sitting at a big loss here in US dollar terms. So if you bought the top, you're still sitting at 63% loss, and it actually bottomed out roughly 93% from the top, right? So 90% and above retrace on a meme coin is very possible and very often. So this is like the opposite of a safe investment, right? But again, if we do get in at a really good price, your returns could be massive. If we're looking at the US dollar terms and you bought like the perfect bottom, you would still see like a 400 something percent gain from the very bottom. Even if you didn't catch the very bottom, maybe you entered here at this moving average line, you're still up like 100% on your investment in US dollar terms. So there's a ton of returns to be had if you allocate a small portion of your portfolio into yield farming memes, if you're not comfortable with taking on much more risk, right? I personally have a higher allocation to memes just because I'm very comfortable holding through these assets, going through all of the drawdowns. And in fact, when the assets are really cheap, that's when I'm reinvesting more and more of my fees to drag down my entry. And then I could make a lot of money when the market is good again. Altcoins are pumping, memes are pumping. That's where we could see a lot of returns. The second downside is that a shift in popularity could be really bad for memes. So if we look at a token like Bonk here, it's been pretty consistent in its performance. It hasn't been like bleeding out or anything. Very recently in the market dump, we saw like pretty weak price action, but it's able to reclaim the strength and is now trending upwards. But if we look at different tokens like Pepe, for example, is still struggling a little bit. Maybe it's going to break towards the upside if the market conditions for altcoins are really good. But who knows what's going to happen in the future, right? A popular meme on base that went up really high was Brett. You can see it's still sitting at a huge loss here if you bought the top. It's still down like 77%. So the popularity does fade. Stuff like Dog with Hat was very popular last year. Now it's still sitting at 79-80% loss from the all-time high. But the way I look at it is that you could have just dollar cost average down, right? If your average entry is around here, you're still sitting at some decent profit here. So even though the token has been really weak, it doesn't mean that you can't make a profit from these types of tokens, right? But that's one of the main risks for meme coins there. And that's why I typically don't want to go all in into one meme. The popularity of a meme shifts all the time. Stuff like Fartcoin has been pretty popular this year. But who knows what's going to happen in the future, right? If there's another token that becomes more popular, maybe people would sell out of their Fartcoin position to chase that new token. So that's something to consider as well. And the third drawback to consider is that your gains could be a hit or a miss, right? And this is typically true for like most altcoins. Your picks are not going to be 100%. That's the nature of the game. But if we could get like a 50% win rate or higher, that's enough to make really good money, right? Especially if you guys are taking smart bets and basically diversifying your investment. For example, I had a really good win with Bonk here. I'm just riding through the winner. It's doing really well. My MOG LP is doing really well as well. But some of the tokens like AIXPT that I just recently cut and then rotate into other plays, you can see it's a loss that I have to be willing to accept, right? You're not going to make wins all the time, especially with meme coins and smaller cap altcoins. And the fourth bear case against yield farming meme coin is that it's not backed by much fundamentals. There's no fundamentals behind MOG. There's nothing the token is being used for besides purely speculation. But you could also argue that you could be looking at like holder count, the social reach, and how many people are actually talking about MOG when the prices are really weak. Are people still interested in this token, right? Or is the community like absolutely dead and the token just disintegrated? So that's something to look out for as well. So for example, Bonk has a really strong community. Even though when the prices have trended down really hard, they've been around since 2023. And there's a lot of like believer in the ecosystem. In this case, there's actually some fundamentals behind Bonk because they have different apps like the Bonk trading bot on Telegram, as well as a token launchpad. So it's not really a pure meme in my opinion. That's why I have a heavier allocation to Bonk. You can see I have roughly 20 something thousand dollars in Bonk, and my portfolio right now is roughly at 200K. You can do the math there. It's about like 12% of my portfolio or so. So a heavier allocation. But again, because I know the fundamentals behind the token, I actually made a ton of gains just from this position alone. So now that you know the pros and cons, I want to go over a few tips that have helped me a lot when it comes to picking out meme coins. The first is that we want to be typically yield farming meme coins that are likely to stick around for a very long time. I say this in a lot of my videos is that yield farming is meant to be a mid to long-term strategy. So if you're trying to swing trade a token in like a few days or a few weeks, yield farming is not good for that because you typically are taking much more market risk. You're in position for a longer time period. We're not trying to chase the daily gains. If you're trying to trade a meme coin that is higher risk, it's much better to be just swing trading the chart or just doing some day trades rather than yield farm. If you guys are yield farming with a big portion of your portfolio like I am, we want to be sticking with memes that have staying power that are likely to be around for a long time. For Bonk, do I believe that it's going to be around for a long time? Yes, I do, because of the token launchpad, because of the Bonk bot. And the thing is, Bonk just keeps on innovating, right? This is a really great sign for a project. If they're constantly shipping new products and they're constantly adapting to the new market, that's a really strong team to bet on. So I'm very comfortable yield farming Bonk, even if the token prices are cheap. And that's the thing as well. If there's like a 90% drawdown, are you actually comfortable holding through that? You can see Bonk went down by 83%. And are you actually comfortable adding to your positions when that happens, right? If you're not comfortable adding to those positions when the prices are cheap, it could mean that the token you're picking out, you don't have conviction in, or that you actually don't believe it's going to survive a sharp drawdown, right? So can it survive a bear market? Does it have longevity? Something that is like chasing the short-term trend. There's a ton of different tokens, right? Like a Hulk token, is it going to be around for a long time? Who knows? Probably not. Momo, probably not as well. Stuff like Trump, you could argue that it could be around longer, but at the same time, it's probably not going to be around in the next cycle, right? But stuff like Pengu that's launched by the Pudgy Penguin team is going to be around for a long time. It's very likely that they're going to be around for the next decade or so. Bonk is going to be around for a long time. Fartcoin, I think, is still like a debate in my opinion. And usually tokens that are going to be around for a long time have more of a cult-like community where the people are bullish on the token, even though when the market is really bad, people are accumulating those tokens. Stuff like MOG, you can say that a lot of people are bullish on MOG, even though when the prices are really cheap, people are not switching their profile picture, right? A lot of people have moggles on their profile picture. I currently do as well on X if you guys follow my account. So it's a really great like culture coin that people are just bullish on long term, right? And the second tip that have really helped me a lot when it comes to picking different altcoins is that we got to be more selective when we pick altcoins. When I make a lot of losses from yield farming, typically I'm just being too loose with my money. I'm not that intentional with my investment. So the chance of making a mistake is much higher. But if you guys are more selective with your picks, you will have a higher chance of success. Every time we're looking at a token, we want to ask ourselves, like, what's the bull case for this token? What's the bear case for this token? For example, I'm very bullish on Ethereum-based memes because the bull case is that there is not a lot of dominant memes on Ethereum. So if retail and people are aping into Ethereum memes, there's only a few tokens that the money would flow through, right? Versus on Solana, there's just a ton of different memes. People are aping into like small caps, mid caps, large caps. So the liquidity is much more diluted. So on Solana, I want to be even more like intentional, right? That's why I only yield farm Bonk. I'm currently not yield farming other Solana memes because of that reason. Versus tokens on ETH, we have stuff like SPX 6900 and then Pepe. And the layer 2 memes, you could argue as well that it's on ETH. Stuff like Toshi and even Pengu, you have Abstract, which is like a Ethereum layer 2 chain. So when Ethereum is doing really well, a lot of these memes will pump, including MOG, which I have a higher allocation right now in memes. But that's the main idea. We don't want to just pick random memes that we think would run. We have to be really intentional. Think about like the bull case and the bear case. Why are you betting on this meme, right? And the third tip is to stick to larger cap memes. So if I pull up CoinMarketCap here and go to this meme section, a lot of times these larger cap memes are going to be around for a longer period of time. And the reason why they got to a higher market cap in the first place and stay there is because there's a wider holder base, right? Stuff like Pepe, even Dogecoin, Bonk, Pengu, SPX 6900, even Sol memes like Whiff, Fartcoin, Popcat, Mew, Peanut. These are memes that are likelier to stick around compared to like lower cap memes if we just scroll down like Ponke, Dogs, Chill Guy, Ski Mask, Sundog, Simon's Cat. Of course, we can still yield farm these tokens. I still do as well. But I'm not going to bet the farm on these tokens, right? The lower the market cap, the even higher risk. And that's where we could be taking like small swings and still make a ton of money if you guys want to pick out like lower caps. But if you guys are allocating, let's say like 5% of your portfolio into one position, we typically want to stick with these larger caps that show strength and a lot of the stuff that I talked about, right? Is there marketing reach? Is the community good? Does it have staying power? The fourth tip I have for you is to try to get in at a good entry. It doesn't matter if you guys are yield farming really hot memes, but your entry is really horrible. You're going to be not performing as well if you actually got in at a good entry, right? So if I look at MOG and ETH here, I typically like to look at the Ethereum chart because a lot of times I'm investing Ethereum and I want more Ethereum out of it, right? So I don't want to be entering when the prices are really high here. You can see those are like the peaks where I would not try to enter, right? If I'm trying to ride this uptrend, the current price is a decent entry. An even better entry was this area. When it's starting to like flatten out, right, and move sideways, that's where I entered and started yield farming this pair once again after the downtrend ended, right? So we really want to get in at a good entry. And once you get a good entry, we want to keep risk management in mind. So what do I mean by risk management? I'm not going to compound all of my fees into the pools, especially when the prices are high. there's typically much more fees that I could sell for a profit when the prices are high. So I'm actively de-risking into these pools. It's very different from like a blue chip pool, for example, Ethereum and Bitcoin. I could just keep compounding my fees forever. And then eventually I'll have even more Bitcoin and even more Ethereum, right? Right now, I'm still holding on to my position, like the Bonk and ETH pool. I entered at this green line here, sitting in really nice profit. I'm de-risking with the fees that I earn, right? Either into Ethereum, into stablecoin, into Bitcoin, whatever token you want to choose. But I'm not going to keep adding into my position, especially if I already have like 12% into this position, right? I want to de-risk more aggressively when the prices are high. And then when the prices are low, I could consider to compound more into the pool if I still want a heavier allocation into this pool. But risk management is really crucial here. We don't want to just keep doubling down because if the market pulls back really hard, if we look at the others chart here, we see others run up all the way to 450 billion, retrace all the way to 184 billion. Now it's trading at 282 billion. So if we didn't secure the profits up here, you would have wrote down a lot of your gains, right? So if I do see like the others chart shooting up to like 400 billion, I want to be more and more aggressive when it comes to taking profits, especially if it's breaking like its previous highs. I want to make sure that I'm de-risking very consistently. And the last tip I have for you guys today is to spread out your bets. It ties into risk management as well. If you guys invest into altcoins, you should never just be yield farming like 2 to 3 positions. I think that's a very bad idea because a lot of times, even if you did a ton of research, for example, Pendle is actually a token I'm really bullish on. But sometimes the token is just not going to outperform or do that well, right? I entered right here. Maybe it would stay down here for a while before it rips up again. Or maybe it would just keep dumping to the downside, right? We can't tell the future, so we need to spread out our bets. It's fine to have a few conviction positions. For example, for me, it's Pixel and ETH. It's a very small cap gaming token that I'm very bullish on. I've talked to the team multiple times. They're here for the next decade to build like the project. They're very talented in my opinion. That's why I'm comfortable having like, more than 50K into their assets. These pools are still printing a lot of fees, but you can see I have a wide variety of pools here. I'm not going to just go all in into one token and then hope for the best, right? That's not a winning strategy because one big loss on your portfolio could wipe you out and it's going to take you a very long time to build up your portfolio, especially if you guys are yield farming meme coins. You don't want your whole portfolio to be meme coins, right? Sometimes narratives shift. For example, last year, meme coins was really hot. This year, I'm betting that DeFi and stablecoin narratives like Syrup is probably going to take off really well here in the next 6 to 12 months. We'll have to see if it's actually true or not. Meme coins would probably do really well when retail returns, but it's not a great idea to bet the farm on it, right? The way I like to think about altcoin investing or yield farming is that we're throwing darts at the board, right? If you guys have only 2 darts and you like concentrate it really hard and you make the perfect throw, but somehow you just slip at the last moment and then the dart just basically entirely missed the board, that's how you could lose a ton of money. That's why when I'm yield farming meme coins, a lot of times I want to be spreading out my position to at least like 5 to 10 position or even more. If you guys count my position here, let's say this is one position, Pixel and ETH is another one. That's 2, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 different positions, 10 different bets that I'm very comfortable taking rather than having 1 to 2 different bets, right? By spreading out the bets, we could increase like the surface area where we could be capturing a lot of gains. Like for example, with Bonk here, I did some research on it, but a lot of times luck plays a role as well, right? Previously, the Bonk token launchpad actually wasn't doing that great, but over the last couple of weeks, it's actually done really, really great. It's pulling in a lot of revenue, and that's what's causing like a big surge up in price. So don't over allocate, spread out your bets. If you can't take the volatility or if the risk is just too high, You don't have to yield farm meme coins as well. Again, this video is just for people that want to yield farm memes. And a quick recap on the 5 tips is that you want to bet on memes that are going to be around for a long time, at least 6 to 12 months, and ideally even longer. The second is be more selective when it comes to picking memes. You don't have to pick all of them. Stick to the best ones, especially if you can get in at a good entry. The third is to stick to larger cap memes if you guys are allocating more capital. Don't go yield farming 1 million market cap tokens and then expect you're going to make a ton of money, but then you end up losing your whole portfolio, right? The fourth is to try to get in at a good entry and keep risk management on your mind at all times. The 5 is to spread out your bets. Never go all in into one meme or one altcoin. Even if you win, it will eventually backfire and you could lose a ton of money. And lastly, I want to share my 5 top picks for meme coins. Again, none of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing which memes I'm bullish on and the main core thesis behind it. The first meme coin I'm very bullish on is Bonk. Again, I've stated multiple times that Bonk has been around for a long time. The team continues to innovate, and it's actually less of a meme. It has like a lot of products that's going for it. If we look at Bonk and Sol, you can see Bonk has retained its value, and there are a lot of great entry opportunities that you could have gotten in and printed a lot of money with Bonk, right? Bonk is going to be around for a long time, especially if Sol is going to be around for a long time. So Bonk is my Sol beta play here. When Sol is doing really well, Bonk tends to do really well as well. I don't hold a lot of Sol because I have a large exposure to Bonk already. And in my opinion, the Sol meme coin market is very saturated, but Bonk is the clear winner here in my opinion. The second token that I'm really bullish on is MOG. The main reason why is I've seen a ton of people that are bullish on MOG even when the prices are weak. People are still rocking that moggles on their profile picture. And now that the prices are trending up, we see more and more people hopping back onto the MOG train. And it's just been a great performer in the last couple of months. I will still be de-risking the fees because again, risk management is really important. If the market crashes really hard, we could expect these memes to crash really hard as well. The third meme coin that I am really bullish on is the Pengu meme coin. Pengu has seen really great performance in the last couple of months here. You can see they suffered like a huge drawdown, right? Like 90% drawdown. But if you actually bought the bottom, it's up like 600-700%. Sadly, I didn't buy into Pengu. I was just a little bit too busy to be like, researching into abstract. And then I didn't really want to have too much funds on Solana either. So I completely missed that boat, but that's okay. If there's another great entry opportunity, I will take it, right? If Pengu drops back to this trend line here, I will definitely add to that bag. The fourth meme that I'm bullish on is XPX 6900. It's a very popular meme on Ethereum mainnet. They have expanded to multiple chains as well, and it's just pulling a crazy amount of volume. Again, because the prices are so high, I'm not really that comfortable buying at this point. But if the prices do retrace, maybe along these moving averages here, or down here, if I want to have a larger meme coin exposure, I will be looking for entry for this token. The fifth and the last pick here is Toshi. Toshi has been around for a very long time. It's a OG meme on Base. If you guys don't know what Base is, it's a layer 2 blockchain that was launched by Coinbase. And the reason why I'm bullish on Toshi is because Base actually has a lot of potential to capture like the retail volume. And I believe a lot of retail is going to be aping like the classic memes on Base like Toshi that has been around for a very long time as well. You can see Toshi has a really good Ethereum entry. So if I were to actually add to my meme coin exposure, I would be comfortable yield farming Toshi from this price point. But again, these are just what I'm bullish on. I can't tell the future. I don't know how like any of these tokens are going to perform. Even DeFi projects like Pendle, I'm very bullish on. But who knows, in the future, maybe it's not going to do well. That's the nature of meme coins here. But by using the 5 tips that I shared with you guys, hopefully it makes your win rate more and that you can actually keep stacking profits like what I've been doing this entire year or two. If you guys want to learn more about yield farming, then be sure to check out the rest of my YouTube channel. I try to share the most I can here with a lot of these videos. So hopefully you guys are getting value out of that. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.